4 games, 10 days. Everybody take a well-deserved deep breath. That was a lot. We're into the semis, just beat Brazil, finished second in the round robin of the tournament, and now we are facing basically only the group of death from now on. The US in the semis and either Sweden or Australia in the finals. Australia, what? Yeah, it's true. So I am going to try to break down the Brazil versus Canada quarterfinals. I definitely wished I could give you guys breakdowns of the other games, but trying to work full time, create the videos, play my own League One soccer, and provide a great analysis
it's a lot of work.
So if you're ever without resources like me, I also recommend Wine and Tea Talk, or something along those lines of Carmelina Moscato, Diana Matheson, Kaylin Kyle. So those are also super informative, but obviously, you know, come to me for the real quality stuff, like what we're about to discuss. First off, let me say I was right to pick Labbe. People said Sheridan, and I said Labbe's got that confidence. Sheridan, I wasn't sure about the confidence, but I do think like Sheridan probably would have stepped up in the moment as well. But for me to see Labbe back up her girl Sinclair and just stand her ground, her mental fortitude in that game was amazing. She got knocked down on her butt like 3 different times, and she got back up every time, just taking a little breather, and came in and stopped 2 ginormous penalties, tying up the game and then winning it for Team Canada. And I actually ended up watching the penalties in the parking lot of my work at like 6:50 in the morning, and I almost cried. I was just so pleased, so proud. The emotions of watching those girls celebrate. I actually screamed in my like work parking lot. Everyone's like, man, this is landscaping. This is why we don't let girls work here. And I was like, so yes, I was right about Labbe, but I can admit I was wrong about Grosso. I probably said that I was a bit surprised that she made the 18. That's partly because she didn't really get much playing time in 2021. And I knew she was talented at the NCAA level, but because I couldn't see her on the national team proving herself, I was like, oh, she's not going to make it. And then Bev, brave Bev, decided to pick her for 18, even though she'd played a handful of minutes the whole time with Team Canada. And Bev, I'm proud of you. She looked really good out there today. But, I mean, Grosso or any other attacking mid honestly complements Jessie a lot better. I think Jessie struggles a little more when you have Quinn and Scott in the midfield, even though Quinn and Scott are both excellent players. So it is kind of nice to see those different dynamics. All 4 talented midfielders. It's interesting because you have to find chemistry within your midfielders if you're going to play a 4-3-3. Undoubtedly, my favorite moment of that whole game was the fact that the team picked up Christine Sinclair when she needed them, rather than, you know, the last 20 years where it's been Christine Sinclair carrying the team. And even through the first couple of games of the round robin, some people, even myself, were like, okay, Sink needs some help, and today she got it. When Sink missed that penalty, I was driving to work and I was trying to watch, and I was like, oh my god. But my heart was overwhelmed with emotion. When you have Fleming, Lawrence, Leon, these technical players, I was confident 100% with them taking. And then I loved seeing Gilles come up and take a penalty. I actually was wondering, I was like thinking about who's on the field, and I was like, who can do this? And I was like, you know what? I think it's that sneaky center back. The one that wormed her way into the starting lineup despite not even being really recognized by Team Canada prior to this year. So I was super proud that she took that penno and killed it and represented center backs everywhere quite well. But yes, I was so proud of that, but I was also proud of the fact that she got into the starting lineup. A huge credit to her, and also a huge credit to Bev. I don't think this team would be going into the semis if it was someone else coaching at the moment. They're amazing players, but Bev has seemed to really bring them together, allow that young energy to thrive and the confidence of this team. She's making the brave decisions. She's not basing the players based on their past or their future. She's basing it on their present. And she said that again and again. And you see that with choosing Labbe and not Sheridan, who's the future. You see that with not choosing Heidema, who's the future, but choosing Leon to come in and take that penalty. She didn't make the mistake that the England coaches made in the Euros for the men. They put in the young forwards who weren't full of confidence at the point, and Bev is like, I'm not doing that. I'm not making that mistake. I'm putting my talented players who've been on the field all game, who are feeling themselves, and I'm giving them this opportunity. And so I think that was amazing by her to do that penalty selection. I know the players say what they want, but ultimately the coach, the manager is up to that final decision. So to see her also select Gilles in the back with Buchanan it's what I wanted when I saw Gilles debut back in February or March. It's always the pairing I've wanted. Zadorsky makes me nervous, but to be honest, Gilles and Buchanan also made me nervous today at points. Buchanan, especially in those last 10 minutes of overtime, there were a couple times I was like, oh my god, we're gonna lose, but we didn't. Just some giveaways that made me a little hesitant, but that was Labbe backing up her center backs quite strong, and even despite her penalty kick she gave up earlier in the tournament, she still came out. Every play was big and dominant, and so, like I said, huge credit to Bev for selecting these players, but also giving them the confidence to go out there and putting out the best 11. And I think some people like Latko and Zadorsky could pick up a tip or two from her on focusing on the present, not the past. Just saying. And so I mentioned that the team has picked up Sinclair when she needed them most. So I'm going to read a little quote. I'll just put it on the screen after. So this was Gilles talking, and she was like, we've been working for her. She's led this team through so many medals and so many great moments. And I think it was a great moment for us to step up and be there for her. And then Priestman says, for her to miss that penalty and the team step up, to take a knock so early and to push through and do the amount of minutes and play really, really well, what a great Canadian she is. And so I teared up a little bit reading those. And honestly, when I watched the player celebrations and Sinclair crying and everyone crowding around her and being like, Sink, we did this for you, I may have shed a tear or two. And if you did too, that's okay, because it's a transition, and I don't know if she's going to be in another major tournament or not. And in a lot of ways, that game felt like passing the baton a bit, and that this is kind of like her final hurrah in these last couple of games, and they're going to get this gold medal for her because she deserves it more than any player in the world, as she is the all-time leading goal scorer, and she deserves this gold medal. She has carried Canada soccer through so much, and the legacy she has left, the players she's impacted, and her other teammates and how they've gone into the soccer world, a lot of that is thanks to Sinclair. She is putting Canada soccer on the map, and I'm ever so grateful, and I really hope we see more of her. She's still doing amazing in this tournament as that holding forward. Last thing I have to say about that game is Brazil. Just wanted to give a huge shout out again to the other best player in the world, another legend, two goats, is Marta. And it was nice to see her and Sinclair share a smile at the end, because I think Marta knew that if she couldn't move on, at least the other great, all-time great, Sinclair could. And if you watch that clip of Marta talking to her team and talking about the passion and the dedication it takes, I don't even know what she was saying, and I was in tears. I was riveted. I was like, you got it. We're playing for Brazil. No, Team Canada, sorry. But that was after the game, and I was like, mad respect to her, and I'm sad to see her out. I honestly think she might stick around for another tournament for Brazil. I know she's getting up there, but with Formiga playing until she's like 44, is it? I can see Marta sticking around for another one. Hopefully Brazil gets that depth, but Canada is showing they have that depth now to support Sinclair. And so that's basically it, but I will maybe drop a preview of the US-Canada game. If I do not, you can always check back to my clip I did of the matchup in February, but obviously there's a lot of differences because the US is not looking as hot as they once did. I think I talked about how great the mid is, and now the mid is not great, and the forwards are not great, and the defense is not great, meaning, I mean, by great, I mean like they're number one world standards. And so it looks like Canada is rising with confidence, and the US barely got through the Netherlands. I'm not really sure how. So this should be an exciting clash up, and I really hope I do have time this weekend to drop a video about the big game. If not, 4 a.m. Monday, see you there, Eastern time. So make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Keep an eye for those other videos. Comment, let me know what you thought of the game and what you're thinking the final score for the US-Canada game will be.